evening. Uh, let's see. Good evening, y'all. I hope everybody had a today. I hope everybody had a good day today. I'm trying to get all my stuff fixed here. I am Dorothy Burton. Hey, Susie, I'm so glad you're here. I am Dorothy Burton, and this is The Truth Behind the News. And tonight we are going to be looking at Jasmine Crockett and James Talarico and this exciting race that we have coming up. Yeah. So I am glad y'all here. We got a lot to talk about. This is going to be good. This race is going to be good. I don't think Texas has seen this much excitement in a very long time. Hey, Dr. Glenn, I'm glad to see you. Let's get started, y'all. We know that Jasmine Crockett made the announcement that she's jumping in. We all know that. So when she made the announcement, let me find him. James Talarico, who's already in the race, did a sweet little welcome to the party for Jasmine. And let's see if I can get to it. Let's see. This is
Hey, Team Talarico. I just wanted to hop on here and record a quick video for y'all. Lots of news in the race today. On behalf of all of us, I want to welcome Congresswoman Crockett into the Democratic primary race. I chose to run for the honor of being your next U.S. Senator because working people deserve someone who knows how to fight and knows how to win in Washington. We always knew this was going to be hard, and I am so proud of what we've built so far. We've shattered grassroots fundraising numbers. We've built an infrastructure of 10,000 volunteers, just like all of you, who are already putting in the work to win in November. I am so proud of the community and the culture we've built here at Team Talarico. We have always maintained that we are pro our campaign, not anti anyone else's. We will make the case for why we are best positioned to win this race in November and take power back for working people. But we will always treat Congresswoman Crockett with the utmost respect. She is my colleague and she is a leader in our state. She deserves nothing less. So now is the time. Please sign up to phone bank, send texts, learn how to host block walks. Let's go win this thing. Thank y'all. Hey, Team Talarico. I just wanted to hop on here and record a quick video for y'all. Lots of news in the race today.
Okay, so that was Representative Talarico welcoming Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett to the race. Y'all let me know. I'm trying to look at two screens. I'm trying to do something different. But hang on a second. Things that make you go, huh. Let's see. Yeah, so do that. And I don't know why I'm not seeing what I'm supposed to be seeing. But anywho, this has been that kind of day. Y'all let me know what y'all are seeing. Do y'all see me? I see Deborah. Do y'all see me? Because I'm seeing something totally different. I ain't seeing. Hang on a second. All right. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay, let's get into this thing because we do have a lot to talk about this race. Although Talarico is a sweet man, and he has a lot of support. Has a lot of support coming into this race. This race is going to be a very, very interesting race because of the players that are now in the race, right? So let's just get right into it. Monday, I think it was a surprise to everybody when Dr. Freddie Haynes got in the race, to run in District 30. Now, District 30, the district that I live in, y'all know, is represented by Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. So, Mark Vesey, it was, gerrymandered, packed black. So Mark Vesey got in the race. It was anticipated that either Jasmine was going to run against Mark Vesey or she was going to run for Senate. So Mark Vesey had a clear path. And then Dr. Freddie Haynes got in the race. That changed the whole dynamic of the race. And it changed the dynamic of the race in a lot of ways that I've been watching national commentators, with the exception of Roland Martin, who is also a fellow Texan. I'm a fifth generation Texan. We have a very different perspective than what we are hearing from the commentators on the national level. And what we have in Texas now is two young, very formidable candidates. James Talarico is only 36. Jasmine Crockett is only 44. And Jasmine Crockett is not only a formidable candidate, but she is a formidable fundraiser. I think she's like number 7 in Congress of raising funds. But the thing is, she's been passed over for every leadership role by the National Democrat Party. Now, that's going to figure in later on, and I'm going to tell you how that's going to figure in later on, because that's going to be telling. Jasmine is from Dallas, which is the third largest, I think, city in the state. Talarico is from Austin. And those of us who know Texas know that Houston, Dallas, Austin, Fort Worth, San Antonio, that is principally the urban areas of Texas. Texas has 254 counties. Texas has the largest number of counties than any state in the union. And why was that? Because in Texas, although the politics has changed, the structure is still the same. It was 254 counties to allow for local representation. Every inch of the state has a county. It has a county judge and it has a county commissioner. No matter how small or how big that county, each of them have the same local representation. That's very, very important. And how is that going to figure into this race? Well, I'm going to tell you how this is going to figure into this race. When Talarico announced that he was running, this is before Jasmine Crockett. This was like in September. Talarico raised, within a matter of weeks, $6 million. $6 million principally from small donors. Now, he got hit because he took a donation from these people that, trying to get gambling in the state. But, but that was nothing compared to his small donors and compared to, you heard the man say he has 10,000 boots on the ground. The tactic that Talarico is taking is very similar to the tactic that Zoran Mamdani took in New York. His base, Talarico, is wider, and this is the thing. This is principally the thing that's going to be the tail of the tape between Talarico and Jasmine Crockett. Now, with Freddie Haynes jumping into the race in District 30, that does one major thing that Texas has not had. and that is giving Black voters and young voters a reason to vote. Because in Texas, we know that it's Black women principally and urban white progressives that run principally, that has a say principally in Dallas, in Texas Democrat politics. So why is that important? Because if you look at the voting totals from past elections, those two categories, Black women and urban white progressives, have carried the day. Not since Obama ran has there been such excitement. I don't think people have not considered yet the importance and the significance of Freddie Haynes getting into the race. Freddie Haynes is a legend, for those who don't know. Freddie Haynes and Jasmine Crockett together, Talarico really has two opponents, not one. He has two opponents because Freddie Haynes, Dr. Haynes, is running in a safe seat. He ain't got nothing to worry about. District 30, he don't have to even do no campaigning. He don't have to do no campaign. What Dr. Haynes is going to do is help Jasmine Crockett with the help that she needs to combat Talarico. Because Talarico, for the most part, is popular in urban, suburban, white, rural areas. And those of us who know Texas, I'm a fifth generation Texan, okay? I'm a fifth generation Texan. I started my political career working for Dallas County Judge Lee Jackson. I went all over the state. I know Texas, okay? So when Talarico, let me see if I can put this. Let me see if I can see. When Jasmine got into the race on Monday, she said that her internal polling said that she could beat Corning or Paxton. Now, we're not going to even talk about Wesley Hunt because it still remains to be seen if Wesley Hunt is still going to be in the race. The Republican powers that be told him to, boy, go somewhere, sit down. But, he's defiant, so he's staying in the race. He could be a spoiler, but he won't be a spoiler because he don't have a chance, okay? This thing is going to come down between Corning and Paxton. And if I were a betting woman, as damaged as Ken Paxton is, Ken Paxton right now has the lead over John Corning. And I believe that it's going to be Ken Paxton that's going to emerge if there is not a runoff, if Wesley Hunt doesn't, be a spoiler. As damaged as Ken Paxton is, I believe that Ken Paxton is going to be the Republican nominee. Now, why is that significant? Well, I'm going to tell you why it's significant. Although I think I heard Jasmine say that against Paxton that she would win. Against Paxton, Talarico would win. Against Paxton, I don't see Jasmine Crockett winning against Ken Paxton. I just don't. And let me tell you what would give Talarico the edge with Paxton. Even though Paxton has a lot of support going into this race, Talarico also has broad support and broad appeal. Jasmine's appeal is predominantly, as I said before, her appeal is more with the Black voters, Black female voters, and it depends. Because see, Talarico, I would say urban voters, but Talarico is very popular with urban voters too. And urban progressive voters, let me put it like that. Texas is a funny state. It's a real funny state. And if you don't understand Texas, that's why I've been listening to these national commentators and they saying all this and all this and all that. Jasmine said that her job was to call out injustice in Congress. Now, I'm going to tell you, people don't really care about that. People, when you get down to these rural counties, and when you get down to these West Texas, East Texas counties, they don't care about that. They're more concerned about three things. They're more concerned about what you're going to do for me, what you're going to do for my family, and what you're going to do for my community. And the fourth factor is the relator. I call it the relatability factor. As they call it, the relatability factor. The relatability factor. Now, when you get past the urban centers in Texas, when you get Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, Fort Worth, and those are the cities with the counties. Bexar County, which is San Antonio, Travis County, which is Austin, which is where Talarico is from, which has a heavy Hispanic vote. Both Bexar County, which is San Antonio, and Travis County, which is Austin, and then Harris County, which is Houston, then Dallas County, then Fort Worth, which is Tarrant County. Now, it remains to be seen if the Hispanic vote would break for Jasmine. The Hispanic vote did not break for Kamala Harris. But I know this is a new reality, right? The Trump immigration policies are so dreadful and so cruel that it remains to be seen what the Hispanic vote is going to do. Now, if I were a betting woman, I'm not a betting woman, but I always say this. If I were a betting woman, I would say that the Hispanic vote would likely be with Talarico. I would give Talarico the edge. Now, when it comes to the Republican side, Paxton has the edge. But the country club, respectable Republicans, they don't like him. Why? Because of the sleaze factor. I mean, the man is just sleazy. And so who would they be drawn to? They would not be drawn to Paxton. They sure wouldn't be drawn to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, but they would be drawn to Talarico. See, Texas is going to see, the thing is, Texas is a funny state. And a Democrat has not been elected statewide in Texas since 1988. But guess what Talarico did? Talarico flipped a Republican seat in 2019. The boy was only 29 years old. He came in flipping seats. And I think his slogan is flipping tables. Like Jesus, flipped the tables in the temple. I do believe that's Talarico's slogan, flipping tables. Talarico flipped a Republican seat in Texas in 2019 when Donald Trump was still in office. He is a very likable young man. When he went on the Joe Rogan show, as conservative as Joe Rogan is, and Talarico started talking about his faith in a way that Rogan had not heard, he said, you know what? You really should consider running for president. Now, that's coming from a dyed-in-the-wool, crazy right-wing MAGA Republican. Him telling Talarico, listening to him, you heard Talarico's deal. He is very likable. He is very calm, but he is also very shrewd. And he's likable. And he has broad support. And he has the wind at his back with the National Democrats. And let me tell you this. The National Democrat Party, the National Democrats are infatuated with Talarico. They are. Progressives, they are. Talarico is also a minister. Y'all know that. He's in seminary. Y'all know that. But Jasmine Crockett is the daughter of a pastor. Freddie Haynes is a pastor. So we have all these factors, and then when we get through talking about this, I'm going to talk about this Turning Point USA, because we need to keep an eye on this Turning Point USA with what this governor is doing. But let me get back to this. Okay, so the Democrat Party, the National Democrat Party, I believe would be more apt to spend money on a Talarico-Paxton matchup than they would pour money into a Crockett-Paxton matchup, because as bad of as Paxton is, Jasmine Crockett couldn't beat Paxton in the general. Why? Because this is Texas. This is Texas. Now, y'all see, those of us who understand and know Texas, and people who look at, Texas on TV, they see Dallas, they see the glitz, they see Houston, they see Austin, they see all that. Y'all, but that's not the real Texas. That's not the real Texas. The real Texas is rural Texas. And rural Texas rules Texas. And that's why Republicans and conservatives have been able to win Texas, even though the majority of the voters, big voting blocks, come from these urban centers. But they don't carry the day. That's where Freddie Haynes and Jasmine Crockett are going to have to make some headway into rural Texas. Can they do that? It remains to be seen. And see, there's two things. There's the high tech and the high touch. The high tech and the high touch. Talarico has them both. The high tech and the high touch. Talarico could go to Ore City, Texas. He'd be as comfortable going to Ore City, Texas as he would going to Houston. Now, for people who don't understand Texas, who only see like Houston and Dallas and Fort Worth and that, you could drop somebody off in Houston, Texas, one day. You could go back and get that same person and take them down there to East Texas and drop them off in Ore City or Atlanta or Marshall, leave them down there for a day, then take them to the Panhandle, to Amarillo, and leave them down there for a day. They would swear that they had been in 3 different states. That's how diverse Texas is. That is how diverse Texas is. And it goes back to what I said, relatability, high tech and high touch. What I mean by high tech and high touch and relatability. It's going to be the person who people feel most comfortable with representing them. Now, in the urban areas, the cell phone, scrolling on the cell phone, all that. Babe, those people down there in East Texas, and those people down there in West Texas, they ain't sitting on their phone scrolling. Those people down there sitting under them shade trees in East Texas, you're going to have relatability. You're going to have to be able to relate to those people, and you're going to have to be able to go sit down with those people and speak their language. Those people ain't trying to hear no hip stuff. They ain't trying to hear no rap music. Like I said, it goes back to relatability, and it goes back to high tech and high touch. And that's the thing that the Democrats are missing. And I'll say it, that's the thing that the Democrats are missing. See, that's how Trump is so enamored, and MAGA is so enamored with Trump. Now, Trump don't give a doggone about poor white people. But they feel such a connection with him. Why? Because they can relate to him. Why? Because he related to them. And this is going to be the difference in this race between Talarico and between Jasmine Crockett. Relatability and how you can relate to not only the people in Houston and Dallas and all that, but the people sitting under the shade tree. You're going to have to be able to talk their language. You're going to have to be able to relate to them. And you're going to have to be able to tell them what you're going to do for them, what you're going to do with their family, and what you're going to do for their community. They ain't interested in all this smart talk. They ain't interested in all these rhymes and all this kind of stuff. They're just not. They're just not. And when you look at already, and I'm not making the case for either one. All I'm laying out is the facts for things that you need to, that we all need to be aware of. So when you hear these national commentators talking about all this stuff, you will know. You will know. Texas is different from any other state. And then another thing. Not only Black women and urban progressives, rural Democrats. Those rural Democrats. Remember I said we have 254 counties in Texas, the largest number of counties in any state. because local representation matters. Now, what may help Jasmine out, and you're not going to hear people talking about this on the national level because they don't know about it, but this is how it works in Texas. Rural Democrats will switch over and vote in the Republican primary. not that they're Republican, not that they care really about that. They just want to make sure that the person that they elect represents them at the local level. I'm talking about these local judges. I'm talking about these local county commissioners and people like that. Rural Democrats will do that. And that's a factor that you have to factor in too. So when you look at this whole scheme of things, the money raised, like I said, I think Talarico raised $6 million within a matter of weeks. Jasmine Crockett is a fundraiser. I think she's like number 7 in Congress of fundraisers. But like I said, she's going to bring a lot of excitement. She's going to bring new voters. She's going to bring Black voters. She's going to bring young voters. But the white left progressives. Now, if Talarico was anybody else other than Talarico, I would be saying something totally different. But here you have a young man who speaks the language of Christianity, but he also speaks for trans people, LGBTQ people. He speaks against Christian nationalism, and he's white, and he's likable. And he's a minister. And where you have Freddie Haynes, who's very popular among Black Christians, if you talk to white Christians, they don't know who he is. Talarico is a Presbyterian seminarian, and he's a Presbyterian preacher. I believe I had it written down, but I don't know what I did with it. The Presbyterian Church in Texas alone, if they got behind Talarico, let's see. Yeah. I think it has, Texas has among the largest Presbyterian church goers in the state, in the country. So he also has that. Black church goers, it's going to be hands down for Jasmine Crockett. And like I said, Freddie Haynes is in District 30, but he ain't got to run no race. All the firepower, all of the concentration is going to be behind Congresswoman Crockett. And that's what Talarico is up against. Even though he has built an army of 10,000 boots on the ground volunteers and all of that. And those numbers are going to grow. Talarico appeals to a more diverse population. Jasmine Crockett, not so much. Talarico's ties to Austin, San Antonio region, which is second only to West Texas with Hispanic population, that's going to work in Talarico's favor. I do believe. Unless Dr. Haynes and Jasmine can make inroads with the Hispanics, they're going to have to give them a reason not to vote for Jasmine, but to vote against Talarico. And I don't see that reason yet. It may evolve. And another thing, Hispanic males are very hesitant to vote for a female, especially a Black female. We saw that with Kamala Harris. That hadn't changed. That's also going to be working in Talarico's favor. We'll see. But if that holds, he's going to also have that demographic. Now, getting back to Congresswoman Crockett. Excuse me. This is what I think. Everybody ask me what I think, but hey, since this is my show, I'm gonna tell you what I think. I almost put a picture up here, but I didn't put a picture up here. Now, Jasmine Crockett has a lot of star power. And when I say star power, she has a lot of star power. If you go look at her social media, you will see her with all kinds of black stars. In LA, in New York, she's on The View, she's everywhere. She has a lot of star power. Now, what I believe is this. This is what I believe. Congresswoman Crockett can't lose either way. And why do I say she can't lose either way? Because even if she were, now, she could have stayed, like you said, she could have stayed in District 30. She could have been a big fish in this very small pond. However, looking forward to 2028, and the star power that she has, I believe that she is angling for something bigger. I believe that she is angling for not president, but for a high cabinet post in a Gavin Newsom or Mark Kelly presidency. So neither one of these is a consolation prize. Congresswoman Crockett is either going to win this against Talarico, go up against Paxton. Either way, her star keeps rising. Her name keeps rising. Her popularity keeps rising. And she is in a positioning herself to keep her name out there, not only to keep her name out there in a small pond, but to keep her name out there in such a major and big way that come 2028, if she herself doesn't run for president or vice president, the close relationship that she has with Gavin Newsom and that level, you can just about bet that Congresswoman Crockett is going to be a major player come 2028. And by running for Senate, it's going to keep her name out there. It's going to keep her name not only out there, but her name out there in a big way. Because running against Talarico, this is big. But if she makes it past Talarico and she is the Democrat nominee for Texas, do y'all know how major that would be? She says her internal polling, although there's no public polling, her internal polling says that she can beat Paxton. I don't think she can, but her internal polling says so. There's no public poll that says that. Like I said, if you look at some people's numbers, yes, she got a bump, and it looks as though by a few percentage points that she would beat Paxton. Talarico wouldn't. I don't believe those numbers. It's too early in the game, and those are bump numbers. BUMP bump. Those are bump numbers. Those aren't real numbers. So either way, her stock rises. Either she's going to get this prize or she's going to get a bigger prize. She knows exactly what she's doing, and it's very strategic. And in the meantime, as she rises, she is raising up people with her. Because the voters in Texas we are deflated, especially Black voters. This gerrymandering, and I have done a previous show on it. To put the numbers up there, it is so sad because with the decision of the Supreme Court, Texas, I said it before, and it's even more so now, that Texas is an apartheid state. Texas is a minority state that is led by whites, period. Now, a lot of people will say, like with Talarico, you saw his little cherub face and he's really sweet and he's really white and he's really all that. But Talarico would go toe to toe with these people who have, wrestled away the Christian mantle from Christianity, and I'm talking about these white Christians, these white Christian conservatives in Texas. See, Talarico speaks their language, and Talarico is very likable. Talarico is very approachable, and Talarico, in my opinion, just my opinion, Talarico would be the stronger candidate against Paxton. What we have to watch out for is this. There's going to be so much money poured into this race. Now, what the Republicans will do, because they want to see a Paxton Crockett matchup, they'll pour money into this race to Crockett to support her. I'm not saying that it happened, but it happens. And with dark money, and with candidates not really having anything to do with PACs, it's really they really don't know where the money comes from, because by law they are separated like this. So a lot of money is going to be poured into this race. The matchup that the Republicans want to see, is a Jasmine Crockett, Ken Paxton matchup. That's the matchup that they want to see, because they know that as damaged as Paxton is, this is still Texas. And they are betting, those factors that I talked about, they are betting that the relatability will not be there, and that Jasmine will not have the appeal to the majority of the voters in Texas. And the majority of the voters in Texas are in those 250 counties, not the 254. They don't even need those 4 counties to win, but they do need those 250. And those are the counties that always carry the day for Texas. And those are the counties that's going to carry the day in this primary. And if Talarico has more relatability to those populations, then Talarico is going to win. If by chance Jasmine Crockett, I don't see it as a 5th generation Texan, but I could be wrong, and Freddie Haynes in the race too. Now you got to keep in mind, some people are saying, okay, Talarico is a white Christian, he's a progressive, but he has appeal to even conservative Christians. The thing about that is Talarico has appeal to not only white Christians, but Black Christians too. Not so on the other end with Dr. Haynes. White Christians, unless they are progressive white Christians, I mean really progressive white Christians, but they don't carry the day in Texas, he will not have an impact on that populace. But on Black churchgoers and Black Christians, he will. A big impact, but don't be fooled, because there are going to be a lot of Black Christians who are going to vote for Talarico. So that's where we are. If I were to call it today, Paxton, I believe, is going to beat John Cornyn. And the matchup, the Republicans will do all they can to make this a matchup between Jasmine Crockett and Ken Paxton. And in my mind, Jasmine would represent the Democrat Party very well. Talarico too. The Democrats can't lose either way. They can't lose either way. And that has not been the case for a very, very long time. But I believe that Talarico, because I know Texas so well, and because I'm a country girl, East Texas country girl, and the relatability factor. Jasmine has a lot of jazz, and that's really good for Dallas and Houston and San Antonio and Austin and Fort Worth. But them Democrats, them rural Democrats, them ones out there sit up on a tree and all that kind of stuff, not so much. And with the exception of those two big voting blocks, as I said, Black women and urban progressives, those would be the two groups that would carry the day for Jasmine. The other groups, the rural Texans, the rural Texans, white Texans, conservative Democrats, conservative white Democrats, suburban white women progressives, Talarico would have the edge. So either way, Texas Democrats can't lose. But I just believe that Jasmine is raising her profile and increasing her currency in preparation for 2028. That's what I think. And in that, she can't lose. Whew. So I would be interested in hearing from y'all. The Valley. Yeah. Let me see. How will immigration, let me get this. Let's see. How will immigration be covered by both parties? How will immigration be covered by both parties? Ain't no movement on the Republican side. Maybe I'm not reading that right. But the Republicans are not budging from what the national immigration policy is by Trump. They're not budging from that. Remember, Susie? Back when we had those propositions, and I made a big deal about Proposition 17. What Texas was going to do on the border when it came to immigration policy. How will immigration be covered by both? The Republicans are doubling down. And since Texans passed that Proposition 17, Greg Abbott is going to build a fortress down there on the border. And those homeowners are going to get tax breaks. And those landowners and homeowners are Republicans just like him, or the billionaires who have bought up that property. So there's no movement other than doubling down on the immigration policy for the Republicans. And there's no movement on the progressives. I mean, it is what it is. And that's why I say the Hispanic vote is going to be key. Will Hispanics vote? Will they break for a Black woman? They did not in 2024 with Kamala Harris. But seeing as what these immigration policies are under Donald Trump, they could very well break for Jasmine Crockett. That's the unknown factor. But who has the relationships is Talarico. Because that's Talarico's stomping ground. He's from Austin. He flipped a seat. So Austin, San Antonio, the Hill Country, that's Jasmine is going to have to make some serious inroads into that because that's what Talarico's stronghold is. So we'll see. The Valley, that's Hispanics. So we'll see. And right now, that's a factor that we do not know. Freddie Haynes, we know Freddie Haynes don't even have to run a race. Freddie Haynes and Jasmine Crockett together are in the race to raise the voting of Black voters, young voters. And they will do that, which will help down ballot candidates. And it'll also help Jasmine. Freddie Haynes don't even have to put out one sign. I mean, he in like Flynn. Now, Mark Vesey, it's a sin and a shame that they drew him out of his district. I mean, just out of his district, his home, everything. Mark Vesey will not beat Tim O'Hare. Now, we all know Tim O'Hare is a racist. Tim O'Hare was a racist when he was the mayor of Farmers Branch. And I've already told you about that, how he wouldn't allow Hispanics to rent in Farmers Branch. And he cost Farmers Branch a whole lot of money because they sued and they won, and they should have. And this gerrymandering, this Tarrant County, what's going on in Tarrant County? Tarrant County was purple until Tim O'Hare, and now he's solid red. So, you never say never, but it would be virtually impossible for Mark Vesey to unseat Tim O'Hare, as horrible and as racist as Tim O'Hare is. So, he's out of his seat. If we would just vote, and that's one of the things that I am excited about with Dr. Haynes and Jasmine Crockett together, because they are going to, as I said, we haven't seen this level of excitement since Obama. And that's the level of voter turnout that I believe that Jasmine Crockett and Freddie Haynes together can do. And so that's where we are. And that's where this race is. As I said, Talarico, both of them, great candidates, young, progressive. Texas wouldn't lose either way. But I can't see. We'll see. We'll just see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, I can't get out of here without mentioning this Turning Point USA chapters that Greg Abbott, and if you haven't heard about this, I think the Morning News, I was reading a newspaper, one of them, I read so many, did a big story on it, where him and Dan Patrick and I guess he's president of Turning Point USA, they're going to put these Turning Point USA chapters, and y'all know Turning Point USA was Charlie Kirk's organization. It's very conservative, bordering on racist. So now they're going to have these chapters in high schools. And Greg Abbott and Dan Patrick called the press conference with Turning Point USA to say they're going to have, not only that they're going to have these chapters in public schools, but dared people to do anything about it. So y'all know what I did. I said, hey, Casey Thomas, who is second vice president of NAACP, I said, we need to make them, if they're going to have youth chapters of Turning Point USA, they need to have youth chapters of NAACP on these high school campuses. And the excitement, I think, with Freddie Haynes and Jasmine Crockett is that I believe they're going to ignite a fire under people to start fighting back, because we have not been fighting back in Texas against Greg Abbott and against these people, whatever they wanted to do. And they keep taking an inch until they're going to take the whole thing. And I'm talking about public schools. And who go to public schools? Principally minority kids. The first thing Greg Abbott did was the snake that he is, and he is a salami snake, the snake that he is, he slipped in a candidate between when a black candidate, Texas school board member, got elected, before she could take her seat, before she could be sworn in, between the time that the election was and the time of the swearing in, Greg Abbott slipped in his person on the Texas school board. Representative Asia Davis had moved on, so it left that seat empty. And I think it was a DeSoto representative that got elected to that seat. Greg Abbott slipped in between the election and before the woman could be sworn in. And this is why I'm telling you, he's a snake. He put in this woman that threw the vote for this Texas Bluebonnet curriculum that is now in Texas public schools. And that Bluebonnet curriculum is a religious curriculum that now is the law because Greg Abbott put in a candidate that he didn't even, as governor, he could have, but it was the most, I don't even know what you call that. What you call that? A candidate had won, but before the candidate could be seated and sworn in, he slips in his person and they hurried up and took this vote. And that's how we got parents. That's why your kids are being taught this white nationalist bluebonnet curriculum in public schools. Some of y'all didn't even know that. Some of y'all didn't even know that. And then they put the 10 Commandments up. Now, the thing about what I was fussing about at the time that they did it, Talarico was there at the time that they did it. Why didn't somebody, one of these Christian people, black or white, when it was apparent that they were going to put those 10 Commandments in public schools, why didn't a Christian Democrat say, okay, if y'all are gonna push for the 10 Commandments, then we're gonna push for the Beatitudes. Hang them both up. Not one Democrat Christian made the case for that. So now we got the 10 Commandments. No, first we got Bluebonnet. Then we got the 10 Commandments. And now here come Greg Abbott with this Turning Point USA chapters in public schools. How much more are we going to take from this evil man? Because the goal is to totally either dismantle or take over the public school system. They already have vouchers. Yeah, the people didn't vote. I sat here Saturday after Saturday, say, hey, these vouchers, and other people said these vouchers, we need to vote down these vouchers. What did people do? They didn't even vote. They didn't even vote. So now public money going to these private Christian schools or religious schools. And now we got Turning Point USA. They're putting chapters in public schools. And with the gerrymandering. So I don't know what it's going to take for people to get off their ass and vote. And for that, I'm glad to see Dr. Haynes and Jasmine Crockett teaming up because they will get the vote out. But it's almost too late. We're living in an apartheid state now. They've taken over the public schools. And not only have they taken over the public schools, put no 10 Commandments in the curriculum, now they fixing to have chapters in these public schools of Turning Point USA. And Greg Abbott is threatening people and saying, nobody will impede this, or, like what, he gonna do, arrest them or something? I don't know. But that's where we are. That's the state of play in Texas. So that's all I got. That's all I got. So when y'all, see all this and hear all this about, Talarico and Jasmine Crockett, just remember, this is Texas. And I don't care what them national people say. Texas is different from any other state. And we will see what happens. And I just think it's a sin and a shame, as damaged as Ken Paxton is. He can't keep his pants up. His wife left him for, biblical reasons, which means, he's sleeping with somebody or somebody's. But yet and still, he is the leading candidate for the Party of Family Values to be the next senator from the state of Texas. Go figure. Go figure. Go figure. Let's see. Susie said, yes, Prop 17. So ours will say we're winning the borders. Yeah. Democrats are going to say how bad. Y'all, what kind of Texas are we leaving for our children and grandchildren? What kind of Texas? Not the kind of Texas that we grew up in. Turning Point is political ideology association is very different than FCA. It's racist. I mean, it's right, period, on its face. It's racist, period. So they're going to indoctrinate these high school students now on this. They're already indoctrinating them with this bluebonnet religious curriculum in the classroom. Now, outside of the classroom, they're going to have these Turning Point USA chapters in high schools. Yeah, that's where we are. That's where we are. So God bless Talarico, James Talarico. God bless Jasmine Crockett. We have two fine, young, smart, Christian candidates. So we can't, Texas can't lose with either one. We can't lose with either one. I think I got everybody. Yes, I think I got everybody. How's immigration? Abbott has done more to harm rural Texas schools and health. Yes, he has. Talarico is hitting the financial gap up and down versus left and right. Yes, he is. We need to also let the Abbott 12-year do nothing factor. But money wins. And he is a juggernaut when it comes to raising money. Ain't none better than Greg Abbott. Yeah, Mark Vesey would be a great judge, but he ain't gonna win. It's just, numerically impossible. He's just, that's a lock on Tarrant County. Let's see. He said, we're going to lose one of them in the primary, and they're both effective representatives. Yes. True. But, like I said, if Talarico wins, we let me say it like this. I don't think we will lose either one of them. Why is that? Because if Talarico wins, Jasmine Crockett does not lose. Because there is a greater and bigger stage for Jasmine Crockett. Either she would get this stage as the first Black senator elected from the great state of Texas. She will either get that, or she would get she would be on an even bigger stage come 2028, because the Democrats are going to take over in 2028. There is going to be a Democrat president in 2028. And Jasmine Crockett is either going to run for that, or she is going to have a very high cabinet position. So either way, she can't lose, nor can Talarico lose, nor can the people of the state of Texas lose. This is exciting, and we're in a good place. And either one of them are going to end up well. If Talarico loses, he's young. He's 36. He's young, and he's not done. And that's the good thing. So that's where we are. That's the state of play. And like I said, Texas is a very different state. And it's going to come down to relatability. And it's going to come down to the high tech and high touch. And that's something that the Democrats are going to have to relearn how to do. And that is the high touch part and not the high tech. You have to get out there, and that's what Talarico does. And that's what Jasmine Crockett is going to have to do. Because even though Jasmine Crockett is very familiar, on The View and CNN and MSNBC and the urban areas, when you get down to those those rural counties, not so much. So she is going to have to introduce herself to those people. And not only introduce herself, but she's going to have to be relatable to those people. And that's where Talarico has an up on her for right now. So, and on the flip side, Talarico is going to have to be, relatable to Black women voters and to white urban progressives. And he already has that. So his challenge is going to be Black women. Jasmine's challenge of relatability are going to be the rural white voters. And whichever one of them is most successful in that is going to be the one to face Ken Paxton. And what does that say? Just the fact that Ken Paxton is going to be their nominee, that tells you all you need to know about the states of the Republican Party in Texas. in the U.S. The good thing, we got two great candidates. And either way, we're going to be fine. Okay? Thank y'all. If the Lord say the same, I will see you next week. In the meantime, y'all still keep seeking the truth, speaking the truth, and we're going to bring it every Tuesday. See y'all next time. Bye-bye.